Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. In today's program, we're going to listen to a recitation by Sheikh Mustafa Ismail, who's going to recite verses 30 to 31 of Surah Yusuf. Sheikh Mustafa Ismail was a wonderful reciter of the Quran. He was called Akbarul Qurra, the greatest reciter. He was born in Tanta in 1905 in the Gharbiya Governorate of Egypt. When he turned 10, he memorized the whole Quran. He also entered Al-Azhar University to study Quranic sciences. Slowly, when he was in his 20s, he became a very famous reciter all around Egypt. And he would recite the Quran in different gatherings. The style of Sheikh Mustafa Ismail was unique. Probably no other reciter of the Holy Quran was able to recite the Quran the way that Sheikh Mustafa Ismail did. He would illustrate the meanings of the Quran through his voice, through his utilization of the Arabic musical modes, the Maqamat, and through his intonation, through the tone of his voice. And that is why the supreme leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Grand Ayatollah Khamenei, recommended young reciters, young Iranian and non-Iranian reciters, to follow the style of Sheikh Mustafa Ismail. And he himself was also one of the fans of Sheikh Mustafa Ismail. He used to say that before the revolution of Iran, he used to listen to the recitations of Sheikh Mustafa Ismail on the Radio Egypt. This great reciter eventually passed away in 1978. May Allah bless him and reward him.
وقال نسوة في المدينة امرأة العزيز تراود فتاها عن نفسه قد شغفها حبا إنا لنراها في ضلال مبين فلما سمعت بمكرهن أرسلت إليهن وأعتدت لهن متكئا وآتت كل واحدة منهن سكينا وقالت تخرج عليهن فلما
صدق الله العلي العظيم.
This is again the story of Prophet Yusuf. Ahsanul Qasas. The story of Prophet Yusuf has so many lessons for us to learn. And it's a very, very interesting and attractive story. This part of the story is about how the women in Egypt were gossiping about the wife of the Aziz of Egypt. Aziz is probably the secretary of Egypt, or the head of the guards of the palace. This is what it says in the Bible. But according to the Quran, he was the Aziz, the treasurer or the secretary of the Pharaoh. So what were they saying? They were saying that, look, the wife of the Aziz has madly fallen in love with his slave boy. And, she is in error. She is misguided. Why would someone fall in love with his own slave boy? When the wife of the Aziz of Egypt heard what the women of Egypt were saying about her, she held a banquet, she held a party, and she invited all of those women to that party. فَلَمَّا سَمِعَتْ بِمَكْرِهِنْ, when she heard their gossiping, أَرْسَلَتْ إِلَيْهِنْ, okay, she sent them, and she gave each of them a pillow and also a piece of fruit and a knife, okay, so that they may cut the fruit and eat it, right? And now what did she do? وَقَالَتْ تِخْرُجْ عَلَيْهِنْ. She commanded Prophet Yusuf to go out in front of them, to appear in front of them. فَلَمَّا رَأَيْنَهُ أَكْبَرْنَهُ وَقَطَّعْنَ أَيْدِيَهُنْ. When they saw Prophet Yusuf, they were amazed. أَكْبَرْنَ. They magnified him. They said, wow, what a handsome young man. And they were so distracted by the beauty and the attractiveness of Prophet Yusuf that they cut their hands instead of the piece of fruit that was in front of them. And they said, this is not a human being, okay? This can't be a human being. This is indeed a noble angel. And then the women of Egypt, they were convinced, and they said that, okay, the wife of the Aziz of Egypt, she rightfully has fallen in love with Prophet Yusuf. And this is the end of this part of the story of Prophet Yusuf. Okay, so Sheikh Mustafa Ismail is telling the story of how the women of Egypt were gossiping about the wife of the Aziz, who in some narrations it has been said that her name was Zulaykha. So they're saying how she has fallen in love with her slave boy, okay? So Sheikh Mustafa Ismail is saying, وَقَالَ نِسْوَةٌ فِي الْمَدِينَةِ امْرَأَةُ الْعَزِيزِ تراود فتاها عن نفسه قد شغفها حبا إنا لنراها في ضلال مبين. The way that the intonation of his voice is such that, it's just like he's telling the story, okay? A group of people from Egypt, from the city, they said, The wife of the Aziz has fallen in love with her slave boy. Indeed, she is in manifest error. Sheikh Mustafa Ismail is saying this as if he is telling the story. Okay, he's not only reciting this verse, he's also telling the story. فَلَمَّا رَأَيْنَهُ أَكْبَرْنَهُ. When he reaches this part, this verse 31, and by the way, Sheikh Mustafa Ismail is using Maqam Rast entirely in this recitation. And one of the features of Maqam Rast is that it has a lot of rising and falling. And it's a perfect maqam for telling a story like this story of Prophet Yusuf and this part of the story of Prophet Yusuf. When he reaches the part فَلَمَّا رَأَيْنَهُ أَكْبَرْنَهُ, no one expects that Mustafa Ismail is going to stop on the word أَكْبَرْنَهُ. Okay? Because the way that he's reciting the verse is not in such a way that you would expect that he would stop on the word akbarna. But he does stop on the word akbarna. Akbarna means that they magnified him. They said, wow. They were captivated by his beauty. So he wants to show that they were mesmerized. They were, just for a second, they didn't know what to say. أَكْبَرْنَهُ, and then وَقَطَّعْنَ أَيْدِيَهُنْ, and then they cut their hands. So it's like he's illustrating that there are two stages. First, they see Prophet Yusuf and they are amazed by his beauty and how he is so handsome. And then the second stage is that they cut their hands instead of the fruit. And the third stage is how they say, this is not a human. This is a noble angel. Mustafa Ismail, the way that he recites this verse, he exactly, precisely conveys the meaning of this verse through the intonation of his voice, through the way he utilizes the maqam. And for example, when he reaches the part, وَقُلْنَا حَاشَ لِلَّهِ مَا هَذَا بَشَرًا, he recites it with awe, okay, with astonishment. And that is exactly how the women of Egypt said this sentence. They said, this can't be a human being. This just can't be a human being. This is indeed a noble angel. Only a reciter as Mustafa Ismail is probably capable of reciting the Quran in such a way.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقال نسوة في المدينة امرأة العزيز تراود فتاها عن نفسه قد شغفها حبا إنا لنراها في ضلال مبين فلما سمعت إن هذا إلا ملك كريم.
صدق الله العلي العظيم.
ذكر وموعظة ونور، فيه شفاء للصدور، وشفيعنا يوم النشور. آياته تروي المدى وصفاته